And we're live!
Hello.
What's up, my dudes? So sorry about that. We were obviously had a little technical difficulties trying to get set up. However, we are now here and live. Once again, it's your dude Henshin. I'm here.
Hello, Hedgen. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I is doing pretty good. And with me, as always, is a good pal Mark. So say hi,
Hello.
Mark. There's actually one little
Hello,
change
everyone.
I'm going to implement while we're live like this now, which I actually forgot to do. So,
What are you,
where you
what
go?
you, what are you gonna
Oh
do?
yeah,
What are you
what am
gonna
I gonna
do?
do? Let's find out.
What are you gonna do?
So
Is it?
if I click on a couple
I
of
think I know what you're
things,
gonna do.
oh, I don't think you know what
I
I'm
think,
gonna do.
I think I do. I think if it's not, then I'm gonna be. What the hell, Bryn? What the hell?
And in
Some
three, two,
ASMR for
one, done. There you go. We got Mark as well.
you. Okay. I
You
don't know.
was
I'm
not
gonna have to
expecting
wait
that.
for it. Depends.
Okay.
Is it my name change because it's not updated?
Yes, it will appear in a moment. So
Haha! I knew it was.
so obviously we're trying to match things up across all of the streams that we have on the Illuminerdi. So that's why this is a little change that probably should have been done as soon as possible. But obviously, yeah.
It's fine. Don't
But
worry.
yeah, with me always is a good Sir Mark, and obviously
Hello.
I keep calling him Elim. I
It's
have
fine.
people call me Henshin as well as Bryn, so I'm kind of stuck on whether or not to say one or the other. So that's why I've kind of got both. But yeah,
It's
how
fine.
you doing, Mark?
I'm doing okay. How about you? What have you been up to?
Well, I've been working through this nice British summer we seem to be having, so it's a bit of a shame.
It's so hot.
Have you been enjoying it at all?
I did go out the other day, but it's so hot right now. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah, it's nice. It's kind of nice weather. Kind of shame to like sort of be stuck in it sometimes, but what can you do? Okay, so the stuff we've
has to be
come for.
good.
On Sentai Wrap Up today, we are specifically going to be talking about Twokai-Oh because the fact that we've actually get to see it as a whole. We now have seen it in the previous episode with the Shinken mode that
Mm,
it has, and we now get to see it in its glorious beauty as the
Ricky.
yeah, Oren, yeah, Ricky mode as it's seem to be called, but I just like I like call it Oren mode. It makes more sense. Now, this is your particular favorite. Is that still a case now you've seen it live?
Yes, yes, I have.
Okay.
We're looking at which one are we looking at? The
The
it looks
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
It looks good. It looks very pretty. It looks like a space marine. Um, so I am like more than happy with it. I think it's OP as hell because it can move fat quite fast.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would just use this mode all the time. I'd be like, I'm not using anything else but Ricky mode, and be like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
It's
just gonna use that.
it's a really weird sort of like aesthetic though, because I know that's kind of what Oranger was, but in the grand scheme of things, it's just odd that it's more of a martial arts kind of mecha, really. I mean, it has that
Mm,
Gatling gun, which is like renowned to be seen in Oranger, and obviously, you know, the I believe it's called the Red Battler. I believe it was called in the in that series.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I can understand why they chose that, but at the same time, it's like, you know, I like how it's got like a whole mixture of things. Like it's not just the one. It's got the crocodile element into it, and using that, it's got the martial arts techniques. It's got the Gatling gun. I just feel like at the same time, is that as cool as those all are, it feels like Shinken mode is like the simpler one, which is a bit of a shame.
Mm. I don't know because I feel like with if it's been simple, it's like I, you can use the swords and stuff. But I feel like this is the simpler one because it's got the Gatling gun.
Yeah,
But even if because it looks like he can drop it at any point, but it's more kind of maneuverable. Like
true.
I would imagine this to be more of a tank than anything.
Yeah,
So the Shinken would be a lot faster, where Shinken seems to be a bit more slow. Where this is just like literally I can just like karate kick and do stuff, and it feels like that should have been the quicker one. I felt like that was a little bit too slow
yeah.
compared to this one, which is like super fast.
Yeah, I suppose that's true, but I suppose in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't use the crocodile arm, does it? In the Shinken mode, so it's lifted up, and that might restrict it somehow. It makes you
Mm,
wonder though what actually that other arm's supposed to do, because it's already got the sword in the other arm, which Ricky is connected to. Same thing with Katana being connected to the Gatling gun. That's got
Mm.
obviously some maneuverability, but it's really weird how in one mode it's got the crocodile head, which makes complete sense, but in the other mode it's got another arm and hand which is yet to be utilized. Do you have an
Yeah.
idea what that could be used for?
I'm guessing ultimate blast. Like we're talking about ultimate secondary finisher, where it's like, oh my god, you've lost the gun, you've lost your sword, you've got nothing on you, two Kaiser. Infinite blast. It just opens up and it's a massive beam.
Yeah. I think the only thing I can think
Or
of is
mm,
in terms of the toy is actually it being used by the weapons of the other mechas. Do you think that could be a possibility?
could be,
Yeah.
or maybe it could be a connector.
Oh. Oh.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like it'd be very interesting. Like obviously you've got with the originals, like you've only got like maybe like two combinations that you can do,
Yeah.
which is obviously Duran Gowon, and then you've got Majin and Vrum, and then obviously you can swap them around.
Yeah.
So maybe because, like, say for example, you wanted to combine Majin with Gowon, but you can't. Maybe this like connects so you can, or maybe it turns into a giant one. Because if they don't do a combination, I'd be very, very surprised on this
Yeah,
one.
so would I. I really want to see all the other Zords combined with this one, but I'm still trying to figure out how that could be made possible because I don't see
Mm,
any particular slots that'll open up that possibility. I mean, obviously we've seen how they separate because you've got the bike and the crocodile jet, but um, yeah, it would be nice to know if there's actually anything else for it really, because I really want to see something more in Zenkaiger that we were currently showing for the Megazords, because obviously it's a mecha orientated show, and yet the
mm,
mechas aren't as versatile and adaptive as as like I expected them to keep doing. Obviously, the combinations with the main four, Majin, Duran, Vrun, and Gowon, have that interchangeability, which is great. But it seems to
mm.
be limited to them four, and I'm hoping something else will be introduced. But yeah, I do think the actual mecha though for Two Kaiser is as a standalone, it is one of the best ones for a Sixth Ranger I've seen. Like
Yeah.
there's been a load of strong Sixth Ranger mechas, and some of them come off a bit weird. Like I never really liked in uh, Pato Ranger versus Lupin Ranger, Lupin X for the mecha for that form was great. It
Mm.
looked perfect. However, the other version for Pato Ranger, I just think the head was a bit off. I don't, yeah,
Kind of.
I didn't like that, but I think this one, Twokai-Oh, is a lot nicerly balanced. You know, it may just be two sides and stuff, but generally the way the positioning of the body works, the way the gimmicks, you know, forge onto it and stuff like that, I think it's a much more balanced mecha. What are your
Mm.
thoughts?
If we're going to the Lupin versus Patter Range one, I feel like I don't know, like I mean, looking at it now, is I think I preferred the second version. I'm just trying to find out. I think I preferred it. I think I didn't like the giant big thing that's on its chest
Yeah,
compared to like so. If that could have folded down and the head was bigger, I think that would look good. With the red one, it just felt like no, yeah, the red one has a better design for it because it leans across. So I think it works nicer. If you're going for aesthetics with the newer one, with the Ricky version or the Cutler version, I think looking at the Ricky version looks a lot better because it's the same colors, but then it's also there's not a lot to it.
yeah.
I've got to try and find what the other one looks like now. Um, oh god damn, I love it when Google's like, "Hey, do you want to go down?" No, no, you can't. Uh, so yeah, like I think when you look at aesthetics, it depends on how symmetry. So where you've got the red one, it's so with Cutler, it's sticking out here
Yes.
quite a bit, where the other one is more compact. So it's like when you look at spatial awareness, it feels more like a proper Megazord than it would do, say, beforehand.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. And also, obviously, you've got like the samurai sword on the opposite side. But like, I kind of like it. I just like the O-Ranger form. It looks so much nicer
Yeah, yeah.
and cleaner at the same
Yeah,
time.
I kind of like how they've gone off the little design a bit. So, obviously, with Shinken mode, you've got that samurai helmet, which is generically what you would expect. However, with the RM mode, obviously, we've seen a lot of different uses of the Egyptian kind of theme, like ancient Egyptian, because that's generally what the season was about. Even though it kind of used landmarks from all over the world in a way. Um, but yeah, the fact that they used the style of an Egyptian god rather than the generic helmet design they had already come up with, I think really does well for this mode compared to Shinken mode, because it's nice to have something different. It's I mean it's cool to have the reuse of a theme, but having it so that they're all generally just under the same banner and what you would expect. It's a bit of a shame, really. Um, do
Mm.
you think though they could have done anything different with the Shinken mode to make it stand out more?
I think with Shinken, he looks okay for what he is. I think the other thing is you could have a giant shield on him. So I'm just going to quickly go back. So yeah, he could have had a shield. I think that's the main thing. But I think the way that he walks within in the Sentai when he's using his attack mode or he's doing stuff, it's mainly that's what a samurai does. He's slow. He's waiting to strike.
Yeah,
I think that possibly that the part where it goes off on his arm up here could easily be something where that could have dropped down. So that could have been the shield type thing. So
yeah,
he could have still moved rather than it be kind of left out. Where if you looked at, like, say, Auron version, he has that thing where he could literally do the whole thing with the gun, where he puts it on top and shoots, and it actually holds it still a bit more.
oh, okay, yeah,
Um, I mean, even like, I mean, I think the way I think what I quite like is he's basically based off Anubis. So
mm,
obviously with the pointy ears and obviously the way it drapes down, I
yes,
think that's what kind of steps out with O Ranger. Obviously, you had the kind of like different helmets that would kind of resemble like Egyptian stuff, but this I think it just looks good
yeah,
for what it is. I think I would much have preferred him without the Gatling gun. I think I would have preferred him to have a sword, but obviously I know obviously
yeah,
with the red battle sword, that's what they've gone for.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it is kind of an iconic weapon from that particular show because it was something. I think generally the idea between for O Ranger was like its overwhelming power, ancient overwhelming power. Hence why the fighting maneuvers and Tsukaiser's abilities when he's fighting in Oro mode are based on that. So no, he's got proper power. Gatling
Mm,
guns are generally viewed the same way. I think that's what they're kind of going for. So,
yeah.
overwhelming power both in physical attacks and in weaponry. I think that's just generally how they sum up O Ranger, and
Mm.
I love it. I do like it. I do like it. Okay, so let's go on to the episode 13 review. Now, this particular episode did kind of seem like it was going to be a filler to me in the little preview we had for the episode, but I
Mm.
happen to think that this is definitely stronger than the previous episodes we've had. So,
Yes.
yes. Now, what were your first sort of like thoughts when you started going through the episode? Did you get to see the sub version this time?
Oh yeah, I watched it and stuff like that. I feel like this was a lot stronger. Like
Yes.
it wasn't the kind of like a type episode like we had previously.
Yeah.
I think there were elements that were kind of like, oh God, no. But I feel like, first of all, we will say that Tukaiser gives no fricks. He gives no fricks whatsoever.
Yeah.
Um, so I kind of like that, and I think my favorite part is where it's just like, oh, just use Deca Ranger, just arrest him, and I was like, I kind of like that because he's like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it kind of felt like Two Kaiser needs to start listening, because even though that he's got the powers of the Rangers as well, the others outclass him
Yeah, they
completely.
do. Yeah, but I do think this was more to do with Gowon's growth in this episode. Like there was a little bit more to, like they were trying to give his love for humans a bigger purpose. Like
Mm,
they're trying to give all these characters the negative and the core characteristics about them and applying it somewhere where it matters most. So I can imagine us coming across some sort of technology or something that
mm,
Runes manages to make happen, which could be a battleizer. Um, I think I don't think Duran's. I think Duran might have already had his moment in previous episodes, because he's always generally about more companionship and enjoying time with others. I feel like that's what he's kind of been getting at.
mm.
And then with Majin, I don't know if there is going to be something specific for her because of the particular nature of her abilities, which is to do with magic. Now, this being a mecha sort of season, it's yet to be determined exactly how much magic we're going to see in this show. What do you think?
Mm. I think if we're gonna base the character growth, I think Gowan didn't get much character growth because it's the same things that we've had previously. He says that he loves humans, so I think this was a way of just saying, "Hey, I'm gonna prove myself to you, to Kaiser, that you shouldn't do it." Like he took a bullet to the face. I've got to admit
Yeah,
that was quite ballsy. So I feel like it's just more we know already. So if it was more like I think if we had the episode where Stacy first appears, that's the more character growth that you had with Gowan, where he's like, "Oh, I love all humans; they're so cool and stuff." This one is just kind of reinforcing it, like, "Hey, we've not
yeah, you're
forgotten."
right. Mm.
Um, so with also power ups, I think they all get their sort of power ups as well. Because if you look at Magi Ranger, they all got a power up, so they're all Magi based. So I think that you'll probably see what power ups that they had during the show. So I think with Duran, you probably get the Green Ranger shield. Gown, I don't know what power ups that they had.
Yeah,
Majin will probably get like a white chest thing, so that she can up her magic. Vrum will make it. I reckon. I do agree. I think Vrum will make those sorts of things or kind of bring it together. Um, and then I'm trying to think who else. Uh, Zenkaiger will probably get some sort of power up as well. Don't know what it is.
yeah.
Guessing it's going to be some sort of gun upgrade. And then I'm hoping Sekchan gets an upgrade as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping on the opposite side actually. I want Gegi to be involved a bit more. Because I love Zek Chan, don't get me wrong, but he is kind of more like an announcer in a way. Like
Mm,
I mean, they're kind of treating him like a tactician now, which is great because they
mm,
use him for all Sentai based information. So that's pretty awesome. But yeah, I kind of just want to see a bit more of Stay Caesar at this point though, which is why I'm
yeah.
excited for the next episode. Because we've got this debut of Twokai-Oh, we get to see him fully, but now we kind of actually see him what we should have seen when the uh, Battle Caesar Robo first appeared. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's good to see that they haven't forgotten about it after introducing it so soon. Um, One thing I do want like about this episode is although we saw it trying to be a little bit too funny and as you saw it was kind of like you know they looked like they were about to do the can with all that decoration stuff going on, but it actually turned out to be a tactic, and I think that's what's heavy in this episode is the level of thought because the bad guys are coming up with a tactic. Two Kaiser was basically the main target for that tactic because they wanted him to fight against the other Zenkaigers. Well, the
Mm,
Zenkaigers, shall we say, because they're treating him as a separate entity. Using Toji Gears, which is a brilliant idea to
yeah.
try and get him knocked off. We find out a bit of background about the Toji Gears because obviously Iljarud used these to first experiment with, and they're just rejects, so they're basically duds.
Mm,
And yeah, it was Kaito then discovering about Gowon being ticklish, which triggered his idea to help to stop Two Kaiser hurting people being recycled in this episode and allowing them to collect Toji gears for Two Kaiser to then obtain. So
Mm.
yeah, I think there's a lot of thought in this episode. Now, I believe you. I let you take the reins on this. Did you want to say what you thought about this particular world that we had in this episode?
As in recycling world,
Yes.
and then it's just like every single other world come out. Okay, it wasn't that bad. Like it's interesting that they're doing it, but I feel now, while thinking about it, I feel like this should have happened much later on. Like it's to the point where you get into a Sentai
Yeah.
where when you start recycling monsters, that's when it's like, oh, we've got like a week off or something. Like we don't know what we could use, and I think that's the main idea for it. So I think that using like reusing the worlds just kind of felt like a silly tactic, more like we can't be bothered with this anymore. So let's do this. Let's just reuse this. So I did like the fact that they referenced it to stuff like, oh, the Psycho Rangers and like these other Rangers that kind of team up type thing. I like the fact that they're doing that.
Yeah.
But I feel like this should have been something much later on that they're reusing it. Otherwise, at the moment, it feels like this Sentai will probably end at maybe roughly 25, 35.
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
yeah, it just feels like everything's been kind of like brought together now. Maybe that's because of COVID. Maybe that they were like, right, well, yeah, we don't know what to do, so rather than have a full 45, 40, 50 episode Sentai, we'll make it 25 instead. Now they should go up to 45 because that would be absolutely perfect, so it'd be on the helmet. But if they make it shorter, I wouldn't blame them.
Mm.
But then I feel like maybe that they've now seen it with COVID. So like, okay, well, we can deal with this. We can do it a bit more. We can be a bit more kind of out there because we haven't had green screens. We haven't had
Yes.
thing. We've had people around. So I feel like it's slowly working. But I feel now it depends on where the show's going to go. If the show's going to go more serious, it needs to start now. If it's going to stay the same, then just stay as it is now. You don't really need to change that much. So I feel kind of like, what are they going to do next? How are they going to surprise me? Because so far, I'm not that surprised, and
Yes.
I want to see the next gears. I think that's the only thing that's kind of really keeping me going. How are they going to use this gear? How are they going to use that one?
Yeah.
Like I want to know how they use the Zenkaiger gear. That's what I want to see the most.
Oh yeah, that would be a good one. I mean, we haven't really seen the ones that are being represented by the others yet, have we? Have we seen Magi Ranger or Zhu Ranger?
No,
Maybe
I think
Josephine,
that
but yeah.
yeah, I,
Sorry, just
I
quickly before I forget, because I know what my mind's like. I think you raise a good point actually about how they seem to be doing these episodes as if the season's going to be shorter than it actually is. Because I've noticed a pattern with what you said originally when you were saying about these guys appearing again. It does kind of remind me of Kyuluja a bit because they had
mm,
monsters reunite in a sort of similar fashion. Um, However, where we've already deduced that it seemed a bit early for Two-Kaiser to appear, it does make this entire show seem like episode 15 is A, and then where we would usually have, it feels like we're in episode 20s already. I think that's the best way to put it, in
mm,
the 20s. That's the kind of expectation for reoccurring monsters. Now, whether or not we're going to have that sudden break, as if we're breaking from a fever, yeah,
yeah,
because of the fact that we're getting these episodes in such a way that it seems like COVID is going to allow more creativity to be used. And they're just using the last of the resources they already made before they start branching off completely.
mm,
But I am kind of worried this is going to be like a Deca Ranger. Sorry, no, not Deca Ranger. It's going to be like a decade season in terms of Kamen Rider Decade being that 10th anniversary, well, the kind of 10th anniversary in general, reusing the
mm,
past 10 seasons. Yeah, sorry, 9 seasons that they did, and it was only like 30 episodes long. It was kind of,
yeah.
it was very short. I was quite surprised. That's what I'm worried about for Zenkaiger in general, and I'm hoping that's not going to be the case.
Mm. I think that if I think it depends on how they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Have they already? Oh, they no, they would have started doing the next sort of season, prepping it ready, because it'll be sometime in the next couple of months where they start kind of leaking like this is the next one. I feel like if the show doesn't pick up, I think it all depends on ratings.
Yeah.
Like it's getting to the point where you've got the Sixth Ranger who's meant to be kind of the side character. You had it with Go Kaija. You didn't see Guy kind of take the spotlight.
Yeah.
In other Sentais, I'm just trying to think of the ones that I've kind of watched. I think it's just fully Go Kaija and stuff like that. But when you've had like say the Sixth Ranger, he's never been the main focus,
Yeah.
apart from maybe the first couple of episodes. Because hey, new toys, go buy my stuff. Um, so now it's gotten to the point where Tookai's taken the show, and it feels like as I've always said, Zenkaiger's have, they're the support characters, which it shouldn't be like that. So either they've got to make the decision where Kaito will suddenly grow up and be like, hey, I'm the leader. This is my show. And then Tookai's takes a step back, but then Tookai's has got to be like, hey guys, I really didn't like you before, but I love you now.
Yeah.
I'm now part of your team. And I feel like you've got to have that sort of balance now.
Yeah.
If they do it like,
Sorry,
oh,
go on.
sorry, go
No,
on.
no, no. I'll let you finish the sentence. Go on.
Yeah. So say if you're going to have it at 30 episodes, then you're going to start seeing things rushed. The next mecha, the next like the power ups. I think that's what you're going to have to see. But they should at least have 45 episodes. And then I'd be like, do you know what? That's one episode a year. They also need to pick up the story because I'm getting so bored of it at the moment.
Yeah.
I want good story rather than let's tickle everyone.
What I feel like it's leading to, which I have a feeling it's not going to, is where we've had two Kaiser and the like sort of like debuting with their stuff. It does feel like they've got some new Kikunoid Rangers or just a new Ranger in general coming up, as if two Kaiser maybe a Sixth Ranger, but he's not the extra Ranger that we're waiting for. That's the kind of vibe, because obviously we're used to in Power Rangers, we kind of have that thing at the moment where Sixth Rangers are suddenly appearing and there's something else later on down the line, especially with the Super seasons we used to have.
Mm.
So I'm wondering if they've got something else planned, which are going to surprise us with. But like you said, I am getting a little bit worried that it's going to stay in this sort of static story, and I want to see something bigger come up. That's what I really hope for.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
let's go back on to the actual images that we have for this one. So let's generally have a look at the style that we've got. Now, you did say for our Twokai-Oh in the ORAM mode that you really like the aesthetic of Anubis. Now, do you think that they kind of wanted to just have that silhouette, or did they actually go like full dog on this?
I think that they wanted to make it different. I think when you look at all the Zords and stuff like that, where say you've got the way the way it was, if you had it like similar to the others, like it wouldn't work. So I think they wanted to try and go a bit further. Like this one looks menacing, and
Yeah.
that's the design. And that's what I really like. Like, I want my Megazords or my mech to look like it's going to actually destroy everything.
Yes.
And it's more of like a fear type thing where the bad guys are like, oh, God, no, I'm going to step back. And I want him to kind of go for it. Like, I didn't kind of feel like with the Shinken mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, this just felt more like it's aesthetically pleasing. It looks like he's going to mess stuff up, and he did. I think he's the most powerful form of them.
Yes.
So I think I probably would use this more than say the others. But it's going to be interesting to see which version. I'd love it if they had a normal mode. I think that's what they should have done. They should have had a standard one.
Yes.
And gone for this is what it looks like without it. So that's why it looks like a crocodile. Then we got Shinken, then we got Oren, and that's it. And I'd be like, do you know what? That works really, really well.
Yeah, I am a little worried about the Go Kaija theme though, because for Zenkaiger it makes a lot of sense because he's based on two seasons that didn't have really mecha. They didn't really have a theme that could really be defined in the sort of format we're now used to. Two Kaiser is representing Go Kaija, but we have yet to see anything pirate-esque about anything he has other than the suit he wears. So I'm worried the Go Kaija theme is getting a little lost here, and it's one of the fan favorites. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I agree. They should have had a default mode, and that would have been good to represent, Gokaiger.
Yeah, I feel like the way that they're dealing with Gokaiger is pretty much when you've got your pirate form is he's dressed like like a fancy pirate, like the one that I'm going to distract you while my friends steal your stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like the dancing is a bit, but I can see like they haven't put much pirate-esque things in. It's more like, hey, we've stole all your candy from your shop, and now we're disappearing, and then it's like that's completely forget about that.
Yeah.
But to their thing, like obviously Kaito won, so it was more kind of like I'm not going to pillage this world. And I feel like that's another thing as well. But again, like I would have loved to have seen Pirate in the Mech. Like even if it wasn't he's got the hat, even if it's just like a bandana type thing and it's slightly different, I think that would have worked. Maybe that could be the add-on. Maybe they get a third brother or they get a sister, and it's like, hey, she's got the pirate hat, yay!
That would be good. I love the effects in this, and I love the styles. I do think that it comes off a lot nicer in blue than it ever did in red.
Mm.
I'm so with you now. I used to think that Twokai-Oh Katana looked really good, but Twokai-Oh Riki is just
Spit
too
shit.
good.
Yeah.
It's a really I think it's also the symbolism used in it as well, like special attacks. It just makes the aesthetic even more overwhelming, and it like, I
Mm.
mean overwhelming in a good way. So I really love this. And it's you can see that in the way he moves alone, like as his standard form, as you can see here. Now, would you say that the fighting style it has was better than it just using the Gatling gun?
Yeah, like I like it. I like the whole fighting because it felt like every single Megazord that we've seen, either from MMPR or upwards and stuff like that, like there's no kind of I'm going to go punch a lot of stuff. Maybe Gal
Yeah.
Ranger in that, but I feel like for this one is that's what the style was where we saw with Ricky, obviously with two guys are using those abilities. Ricky one is like I'm going to go punch stuff, and it's using certain styles of probably Egyptian martial arts or whatever they want to use. But with Cortana, or Cortana, or whatever it's called, Cortana, I'm going to call it Cortana.
Katana.
Uh,
Yeah.
Katana. It's more kind of that, it's keeping it at bay, slicing up, doing that way. And that's what you see with the samurai mode. This one is pretty much mimicking the fighting style of Two Kaiser. And that's what I think stands out, makes it more like, oh, this is really, really goddamn cool. I kind of like this.
Yeah, I do love. Yeah, I think there's definitely more to Kaio Riki than there is Katana,
Mm,
because they try to use all of these different elements to him, and it makes him a lot more stylized and gives him a lot more depth.
mm,
Because it could be anything he uses. He could easily just use his martial art moves to completely pound you at a great speed. He's got that Gatling gun for his finisher, but he's also using that croc mouth to great effect, and that's even got a finishing
mm,
move in it too. Yeah, it's. I hope they've got more for Katana, and we're just gonna have to wait and see. Um,
mm,
I also do think that it's worth saying that I like how they didn't really change the position of everything. So when Ricky actually went in, he went the same way as his brother. Difference is,
mm,
whereas Katana's mecha face is underneath a layer from his face, Ricky obviously has his at the very back of his neck. So it
yeah.
literally turns into a head that way. So I like how they're keeping the transformation generally the same. There's not a worry about rotation. It's just they're built this way, and it works well. I
Mm.
like it. But yeah, let's just jump to the special. Oh, and sorry, I just see that someone's put in something. Thea Singh says, or maybe Flint gets a pirate hat. That would be funny.
Just want more time with Flint. That's what I want. But apparently next week's episode's about her a little
Oh,
bit.
really?
Yeah, the actress tweeted out like, "Oh, can't wait for you to see what Flint does next week." I'm like, "Yes, get Flint more action.
Yeah.
I want to see what she can do rather than you go, big brother." It's like, God damn it.
Yeah. Let's move on quickly to. Oh, hang on. I've got to quickly sweep that. So this we're going to talk about is the. Sorry, I'm just having to edit while add directory. There we go. Okay, so talking about the gears that we have in this particular episode again. Now, you said you quite liked the two that were in here, but
Hmm.
what did you generally think of how Deca Ranger was featured in this one?
I think as soon as they said Deca Ranger, you knew exactly what it was. It was to restrain, and that's literally what that's there for.
Yeah,
And I think it was also kind of a callback towards um, what happened with Marvelous when he said he'd hand himself in and he saw Deca Ranger. It's the same sort of thing. It's like, oh my god, my hands, they've been brought back. What am I gonna do? So I think they used that one, and I think it works perfectly because Deca Ranger is the police, like so they
yeah.
are the ones that are gonna step in and do stuff and bring people to justice. So I was more than happy that they used it. I mean, what did you think when they used Deca Ranger as well?
I was a bit underwhelmed because I would have thought that using a gear such as this, like in general, I think Sentai gears, if they're going to be used, they should be big. And for this particular use of Deca Ranger, I wanted there to be handcuffs and everything that
Mm,
they just considered a threat. So I wanted them on the recycled henchmen, sorry, the recycled people that were turned into henchmen that Recycle World did. I wanted it to be on possibly Flynn and Katana and Ricky
mm,
that were maybe in proximity or close by or something. I really wanted it to be like a whole sort of like effect, but it only really significantly used on Two-Kaiser, and obviously the others were acting like as if they were cops. So
yeah.
I think it was like a bit of an underwhelmed gear, really.
Here's a quick question for you, just thinking about it. Do you actually think that this is about the mecha? Because to be fair, like when you think if you have like anniversary, like Gokaiger was all about rangers,
Yes.
so you saw that they turned into something they had the abilities. There's not been a lot of mecha stuff since maybe let's say 2 episodes, and that's it. It's basic stuff like, oh, this is just granting the abilities. So
Yeah.
do you think this it is a mecha anniversary, or do you think it's just a throw the papers in the air and see or throw stuff at the wall and see what it sticks, like wet
Yeah.
toilet paper? Does that stick to the wall? Because I don't think it's I now thinking about it, I don't think it's an anniversary for mech. I just think it's just a eh, what we got in the hat.
Yeah, I think it's a Sentai. I think it's a Sentai anniversary that has the mechas in it. I do think that you're right about maybe they should have done something a little bit more with the gears, like maybe have the Rangers appear, then the mecha appear, and the mecha gives the ability or something like that instead.
Mm.
Um, yeah, it's I suppose that's a bit harder because most mechas have finishers that are generally the same, so I don't know what other abilities it could have.
Let's say for example that they're fighting against a fire monster, and their attacks don't work, so they use Go-Go 5 or Lightspeed Rescue. Then their finisher would be like a hose, and it would get rid of it, and
Yeah,
then they can go in for the final strike. That's what I think. Like that's what it could be. But yeah, again, it's always monster grows up, and then they combine, and they don't do anything. Like I don't know. That's how I've kind of like come to kind of terms. It's just an anniversary season to represent Gokaiger 2.0, but
yeah,
not very good.
yeah. I know what you mean.
Gokaiger
Yeah,
Light.
yeah. I think that they should have done a little something different. I think it would have been better if actually, where you mentioned about them, what if in fact they had the Rangers appear, but then had the Zords instead, or should I say
Yeah,
the mechs? Because say you used the Ranger gear and it was the blue blues Tricera Ranger, then it was his Zord, and then suddenly you had suddenly had horns that you could launch and it would grapple onto
yeah,
someone. That would have been good.
yeah. Like I could see it happening. Like you like Gaon could become the saber-tooth tiger.
Yeah,
So you see it running quite quickly, or that's what I would expect to see,
yeah.
rather than I'm going to arrest you with handcuffs. Cool, Duran. Awesome.
I'm making notes of that because that yeah, that is something I might have used in the future. Right, okay, so let's move on to the next one. So we had Go Onja using their flight ability. Did you
Mm.
like how this particular gear was used?
Yeah, like to be fair, like as soon as you saw them, I was like, right, they've got to team up. So it was either we'd see a hybrid version, which would be absolutely fine, or the second that they're on their own, it's like, right, we've got to take them down. I was like, yeah, they're going to use Go Onja.
Yeah.
And as soon as they flip the thing, I was like, right, so rather than it being the teams of like all the others, it's going to be gold and silver. So using it was fine. I think I would have loved to have seen a different team up, like maybe the Thunder Rangers instead.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting. But for the limited time, it's like, yeah, cool. I don't mind it. It looks nice. The gear's nice. I want to buy the gear.
Yeah. I do think though that this move was really, really good with the effect for uh, both gold and silver. Like, they won't combine together, which was nice. So
Mm.
Gowan was also used in this combination. But Sek China was the one to recommend using it. So it just goes to show how much knowledge he actually has. But yeah, the move itself, perfect. I can't wait to see what the other regular Go-Rangers actually do. I'm guessing it might have something to do with their ability to move forward without actually moving their feet. But
Yeah.
but we'll just
It's
have to
either
wait and
that.
see. Either that or the tire
I,
effect, yeah.
yeah, it's going to be the tire effect, I reckon.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, the only other thing I can think of saying for thank you for Sek-chan is just they had a little hats off to the evil Sentais that they had previously. I'm hoping they do something with that because so far we only have Stay Caesar, but we'll just have to wait and see. So,
Yep.
after all of that, what would you give the rating for this episode, Erlen?
I would give it a 4.
Yeah, 4.
Uh,
That's a
yeah.
good. Yeah, it's a strong 4. It's very good. It's definitely better than previous episodes, and
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah, it's not showing off too much, but it's also giving us enough to enjoy, and it was satisfying. It was a good episode,
Mm.
even with the whole combination of different things going on with Recycle World, the other monsters coming along. I liked how even Kaito picked up the gear and it just sparked, and
Yeah.
that led to obviously it being resurrected in the giant robo that we've seen. So yeah, it was a great episode. I can't fault it.
Mm.
Obviously I can't exactly give it a 5 star because I feel like there could be a couple of little things they could have done differently. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, it was great. It was great. I also liked how we had a little bit more of the Battle Caesar Robo in it, and him using a special attack, which I wish they saved for the next episode. But at the same time, it
Mm.
didn't seem like a true special attack. So yeah, I reckon 5 gears is perfect. Any further thoughts on before we finish?
No, there was. Oh, yeah, would you rather have, like, say Zenkaiger finishes quite soon, the next one? Would you rather they treat Super Sentai like the next season like a Kamen Rider season, so more serious to the point where they put more time and effort in? Because I feel like with Kamen Rider, it's like all everything's straight in there. But then with Super Sentai, it's more like, yeah, it's a kid show, it's fine.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think Super Sentai and Kamen Rider have a similar formula where they start off kind of like simmy and kind of like gimmicky, but then the further
Mm.
you get into it, that's when the real stories begin, and that's when you have that depth and that stuff. And hopefully we'll see that in Zenkaiger too.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Sorry, Thea sings. Oh, I can't wait. Flint needs more. Although I'm impressed with the fact that she can engineer gears for Zox. I would
Yep.
also give it a 4. Yeah, I'm glad you agree with us
Yep.
there. I was also very confused and started laughing when the monsters were doing that roll call. Yeah, that roll
I
call
like
was
that.
good. Yeah, I like that. But yeah, I think something like that would have been great to see if we had like I don't know, a Nega um, Zenkaiger or something, because
Yeah,
there
like
must be evil mechas. I'm guessing. I can't really remember. There must have been something like that popping up once or twice. But
they probably have done everything. Like, I'd like to see Cyclopses from Might Morphin come back.
mm,
I think what would be quite nice is if they brought Stacy back and he can obviously bring back the past mecha, that they all do the poses.
yeah.
And it's just like, well, well done, love that. And it's just like, oh great, now we're going to be beaten by this one.
Yeah, that'd be really, really good. Right, I think that's everything for Sentai Wrap Up today. Hope you also would like to share more thoughts and stuff in the comments below. Do let us know what your other ratings may be if you don't agree with the 4 star that we gave it, or should I say 4 gears? But yeah, okay, I think that's everything for now. So, Erlem, or should I say Mark, sorry, where can we find you on social media?
Pretty much Heirloom everywhere, bar Twitter, which is at Mainstream Live, and that's about it. How about you, kind
Oh,
sir?
you can find me at Henshin Asset on both Instagram and Twitter. Okay, thank you, my
Nice.
guys. We'll see you next time, and we'll see you hopefully to talk about the next episode and see him battle Caesar Robo even like I think properly. That's what I think is going to happen. We're going to see it actually fight. So yeah, see you next time, my dudes.
Yep.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.